concern for area food banks in the midst of an escalating U.S.-Canada trade war. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The impact of tariffs on area food banks could become unsustainable, according to officials with the Regional Food Distribution Association.
The organization says not only will the cost of food be impacted by a prolonged trade war, but the demand for local food banks could really start to rise. Jessica Clement has the details.
Canadians across the country will feel the impacts of the trade war between Canada and the United States, especially when trying to get food on the table. This is also the case for local food banks, with RFDA Executive Director Volker Krom saying if things continue, it could become unsustainable for them to get enough food to their partners across the region.
If the tariffs are in place, we can already see the rumblings of higher unemployment, factories and businesses shutting down. So there will be a lot of people coming to the food banks or to whatever charitable giving for assistance. And so we have to prepare for that.
RFDA Office Manager April Mercier says the tariffs make a difficult job even more challenging, with the organization already struggling with rising costs. Monetary and food donations to the RFDA have gone down as well. Mercier says it's also more difficult for them to receive government and municipal funding at this moment.
A lot of people in the government, people in the city are busy trying to address what these tariffs are going to mean. It's keeping them busy with that, and it means we can't work on getting the funding that we need to sustain.
Krom notes he has some ideas to start preparing for the tariffs, which includes looking nationally.
When I heard, for example, that the greenhouses can't sell their products south of the border, so the word to the staff and everybody is, if it becomes available, we'll ship it here. And so as opposed to having food go to landfill because they can't sell it, bring it here and then we'll share it out with across the region or interprovincial.
The organization will have a members meeting at the end of the month to discuss the potential consequences.
What happens if we don't have enough food to supply everybody? What happens if we don't have enough donations to buy the food that we need? What happens if they run out of the food and there are still more people in the line? And these are the questions that we have to come together to try to answer.
The RFDA will also play a key role in educating people on how to stretch their groceries during tough economic times. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
A regional union leader says many local sawmills and forestry operations are resilient enough to handle Donald Trump's tariffs.
But he warns that a full-blown recession in the U.S. could hit the industry hard. Justin Hardy reports.
All this extra cost is going to be passed down to the consumers and the home builders. So there's not really anybody benefiting from this.
Sawmills and other forestry plants with strong diversified operations are in a good spot to weather any fallout from a trade war, according to Stephen Boone, Northern Area Director for Unifor. The union represents workers at sawmills in Thunder Bay and Ear Falls, along with several other forestry operations across the region. He says the more established businesses in the sector are better positioned to handle economic shifts, making them less vulnerable to major disruptions. But there is concern that Trump could drive the U.S. into a recession.
Which, impacts everything, because right now everyone's assuming a fairly stable market with some growth, some GDP growth for both Canada and the U.S. If the market continues to tank the way it has been tanking, and he's committed to drive it into the ground, all bets are off in the sense of how deep any potential recession might be or how long.
Unifor also represents workers at pulp and paper facilities in Thunder Bay and Dryden, along with several other operations in the region. According to Boone, the U.S. will likely struggle to find suitable replacements for some of the specialized products made here, which means it should be business as usual for many of our local mills. But some companies are beginning to look for more secure trade elsewhere.
Other mills right now that are selling to the U.S. are looking at Japan, Europe, other markets to ship product there. What will happen is that will take supply off the American market and actually drive up price as well by adding tariffs and duties to softwood lumber. The American producers aren't going to maintain prices. I mean, if they're going to see there's pressure on the supply coming from Canada, they will also increase their price to take advantage of that.
The economic situation with our neighbors to the south is always changing, and Boone says the union will stay in close contact with its workers to keep them informed as things unfold. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
A healthcare advocacy group is vowing to continue its fight with the Ford government despite 2 recent legal losses.
One of the issues is the care of some Ontario seniors in hospital who can be charged a daily fee for refusing a transfer to a long-term care home. CTV's Scott Lightfoot has more.
We're shocked and we're dismayed. Obviously, we did not expect this result.
It was not the result the Ontario Health Coalition was hoping for. The group recently suffered 2 legal setbacks in their fight against healthcare decisions made by the Ford government. The first involved a charter challenge against the More Beds, Better Care Act that requires hospitals to charge patients who are classified as alternate level of care a fee of $400 a day if they refuse transfer to a long-term care home that is selected for them. The coalition argued such a move violates patients' rights. But Justice Robert Senta dismissed the challenge, writing, "I have found that Bill 7 advances an important objective to reduce the number of ALC patients in hospital who are eligible for admission to a long-term care home in order to maximize hospital resources for patients who need hospital-level care."
It impacts really, literally more than 100,000 people now, and in coming years, untold hundreds of thousands of Ontarians.
The other challenge involved the government's granting of an 88-bed expansion and 30-year license to the owners of Orchard Villa, the long-term care home that gained international attention during the pandemic after the military was called in to help deal with a COVID outbreak. The coalition wanted a judicial review of that decision, but that request was dismissed, with the presiding justice saying the minister had taken into account all submissions, even if the applicants didn't get the decision they wanted. In both cases, the justices ruled that the coalition did not have legal standing.
To say that we're disappointed with the results is an understatement. Needless to say, we don't agree with the court's conclusions on either the law, the facts, or on the question of public interest standing.
Financial costs will prevent an appeal in one case. The other is up in the air. But the coalition says they won't let the legal setbacks deter them from continuing their fight, admitting it won't be easy.
We're not going to kick a government when it's down. We're in the middle of a big trade war with the United States, and it's not the time for us to be mounting major public pressure on the government. When things are more stable, we'll be figuring out how we can make the most visible possible what's actually happening.
Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
A Thunder Bay man has been arrested in connection to a decades-old sexual assault case. 61-year-old George Spade faces 4 charges, including sexual assault causing bodily harm and gross indecency, for incidents that allegedly occurred in Collins First Nation near Armstrong between 1978 and 1988.
A Manitowaj man is facing drug trafficking charges after a search warrant was executed at a home in that community yesterday. Members of the OPP's Community Street Crime Unit confiscated about 100 grams of cocaine and 76 dilaudid pills with a total street value of around $12,000. Police also seized a switchblade knife, over $4,000 in cash, and items associated with drug trafficking. The 61-year-old suspect is charged with trafficking cocaine and opioids and possessing a prohibited weapon. He'll appear in court in Manitowaj tomorrow.
Officials with Eco Superior say they're seeing positive results from a new litter prevention program that was introduced last spring.
16 litter traps, as they're known, were installed in storm drains across the city to catch cigarette butts, wrappers, and other litter, and to stop it from entering Lake Superior. Riley Cohen has the details.
Over the last 11 months, an initiative waste collection system has prevented approximately 1,500 pieces of litter from entering the city's storm drains. The non-for-profit organization Eco Superior installed 16 litter traps across the city last April to reduce the amount of garbage that washes into local waterways. Kennedy Bucci, Eco Superior's Rethinking Waste coordinator, emphasizes the environmental impact of the initiative.
I think a lot of people don't realize that our city storm drains empty directly into our local waterways. So anything that goes on the ground in our city eventually ends up in Lake Superior. And so these litter traps were designed to capture debris that is in our city storm water runoff before it enters the waterways. So we're preventing litter from getting out into the lake where it can cause harm to wildlife and to the ecosystem.
The traps were first installed just before last year's spring thaw, and Bucci anticipates collecting even more waste this spring following the melt.
This year, I'm going to be really interested to see how much extra litter there is that accumulated over the winter when everything's kind of gone dormant.
Data from the traps revealed that over 60% of the collected waste consisted of cigarette butts and tobacco packaging. Litter was most concentrated in high-traffic areas like the downtown core, public parks, and other busy locations, while quieter neighborhoods saw less waste. The initiative also aims to identify areas where additional disposal bins are needed to help curb littering.
The hope for this project is that when we identify where the litter is in our city, we'll be able to increase waste management in those areas. So we know, for example, that cigarette butts are a huge issue at Hillcrest Park because we found them in our storm drains. And so we've already installed extra ashtrays at Hillcrest, and we'll continue to do those kind of measures throughout.
Bucci also noted that anyone who is unsure of where to dispose of their cigarette butts can stop by Eco Superior and pick up one of these free pocket ashtrays. The 16 litter traps will remain in place this year, with the hopes of expanding the initiative in the future. Riley Cohen, TBT News.
With March break in full swing and temperatures rising, Mount Baldy is a busy place this week.
Hundreds of kids are hitting the slopes, making the most of the nice weather and decent amount of snow compared to last year. Jaden Billick spoke with a few young skiers today and brings us the story.
There wasn't much snow left in Thunder Bay during last year's March break, making it difficult for local ski hills to remain operational during their busiest time of the year. However, 2025 has been a different story, according to the co-owner of Mount Baldy, Daniel Cardis. He says there's a lot more snow on the slopes this March break, and he's glad to see these youngsters taking advantage of the beautiful conditions.
It's amazing how many families are here this year. Maybe they're not traveling with all these tariffs going on, but parking lot's packed and people are having a blast and loving the food, and the conditions are amazing. You can't get better than this, so this is probably one of our best years ever.
The kids here at Mount Baldy are making the most of the slopes, carving through a solid snow base and soaking up every moment of the March break fun. We spoke with a few of the future pros to hear about their day on the hill.
You spent all your March breaks here?
Yeah, kind of.
Fantastic. How long have you been skiing for?
2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
Wow, and you're hitting the Gold Hill already?
Yeah.
Perfect. How's Mom doing with Ski Hill today?
Not good.
Not good? What happened?
She couldn't even make up the chairlift.
I pretty what?
You couldn't make up the chairlift.
I couldn't even make it up to the chairlift with my skis without falling.
Are you going to help her out for the rest of the day, though?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's not that cold out, like I said, so I don't freeze my face off when I'm going down the ski hill. So yeah, I really like that about it, and I don't know, it's just good to get out here because lots of people are off too. So yeah, there's lots of friends out on the ski hill.
I went down the small hill, and then after I went up the chair, and then I went down the Gold Hill. I like going fast.
Just like Ricky Bobby, I want to go fast. I want to go fast. Eh?
Yeah.
It's really nice, like I said, to see everyone coming in nonstop. You know, as the morning starts out, you've got people just keep rolling in till the evening, and everyone leaving with a big smile on their face. And it's nice in your backyard of Thunder Bay that you can just, cruise down the road and come and enjoy all this beautiful weather and the beautiful mountains and all the views around Mount Baldy here.
And for those who don't want to ski, Mount Baldy's tubing hill is also still running, with tubing available on Friday and all weekend, starting each day at 11 a.m. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Wow, that looks like a lot of fun out there today. And hey, it's a beautiful day to be out there.
Well, hopefully people really took advantage of it, because with the kinds of temperatures that are going to be moving through northwestern Ontario for the next 48 hours or so, I don't know how much longer they're going to see that snow. Today we had some precipitation move in from the west. You can see it wasn't a huge system, fairly light snow or rain, depending on where you were further north. That was, momentary bits of wet flurries. A little further south, it's been more in the form of rain. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we started out with a low of -9 and wind chills of -12, warmed up to 7 Celsius. That is more than a handful of degrees above normal for this time of year under mostly cloudy skies. Winds stayed for the most part from the southwest, 5 to 17 kilometers per hour across the region. Well, last night it was definitely one of the cooler locations in Red Lake, so no surprise they are still just slightly below the freezing mark at -2, and they had mostly cloudy skies, -4 in Pickle Lake. And then we start to inch our way above the freezing mark in most of the regions. Kenora sitting at 0, but Fort Frances already at 3 Celsius with loads of sunshine. Temperatures are going to continue to rise and are expected to hit double-digit highs tomorrow. On the plus side, just to be absolutely clear. As you head further east, similar temperatures in Armstrong and Greenstone at 2 under mostly cloudy skies, and along the North Shore also above the freezing mark. Loads of sunshine in the Sioux at this hour at 3 Celsius. Eastern portion of the region is expected to continue to see daytime highs on the plus side, overnight lows on the minus side. So that's going to help keep a lot of that melting process under control and avoid a lot of flooding to the east. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, our overnight low is going to sit on the freezing mark, and there is a 60% chance of either wet flurries or showers because it is sitting right there on the freezing mark as those systems move through. Tomorrow, we're going to see warmer temperatures than we saw today. That will continue into the weekend. That's why I'm not confident there's going to be much snow left by end of the day tomorrow. But there's also another system moving through that could bring snow to some areas to the north and west of us. But here in Thunder Bay, looking to bring rain.
I'm glad those skiers and snowboarders were able to get out today if it is indeed the last hurrah for them. Thanks a lot, Fiona.